Ladies and gentlemen and in-betweeners, on this episode, is there a doctor in the house? Yes, People Magazine's sexiest veterinarian alive. Animal expert and exotic animal veterinarian Dr. Evan Antin is here with my guest co-host, Vanderpump Dogs executive director, Dr. John Sessa, and me, your favorite host with the deepest voice. So raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, coming at you live, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Oh, Lord, it's going to be a bumpy night. Buttons and... Am I on? Tony, we're having difficulties here. Poor Kurt goes on vacation. Okay, thank you. Buttons and bows and pantyhose. This is On the Rocks podcast, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. Yes, I realize they aren't those kind of doctors, but I got a fever. Some of you are hating on me on social media because I'm already listening to Christmas music. I put up my tree. Girl, that is nothing. I've been drinking for St. Patrick's Day for months. So come at me, bro. Yeah, I said bro. Gotta be manly around here. Thank you to our sober listeners for tuning in. We love you. Thank you for holding our hair back, driving us home. But if you are drinking, the official vodka of On the Rocks is Equality Vodka. 20% of every bottle sold helps fund nonprofits that work to secure equality for everyone. Visit them at equalityvodka.com and social media. Our featured sponsor today is iHoney, or iHoney, high-end eyewear and accessories that combine classic styles with contemporary urban aesthetics. Unisex, they got you covered.
Lovely.
Check out, they're amazing. Check out their lines of crowns, wearable chic crowns for the club or brunch, soon to be featured at some of the upcoming On the Rocks events. Go to ihoney.com, and it's EYEHUNEE. iHoney.com. Okay. The show is brought to you by Straw Hut Media and Here TV. You can watch and listen to every one of our now 194 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Roku. I'm excited to announce that we are now on Pandora's new podcast platform. So subscribe to us there. Watch us on YouTube and Here TV. Of course, we are on the Facebook pages of Trendy Now in San Diego, GED Magazine on the West Coast, and nationally on I Love Gay, LGBT, and of course on the Rocks Radio Show Facebook. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Big thank you to Palm Springs Pride for an amazing time. I served as the first ever media grand marshal for Pride. It was an amazing time in the parade. My mom weaseled her way into the car, by the way, and she got the spotlight. You can see her right there. Of course, I had a great time.
She did.
Of course she did. She had a pride hat and everything. I was like, bitch, whose name is on the car? Me. I had a fun time introducing Christine W., Betty, and of course, hanging out with TLC backstage. As everybody points out, it's TC now. It's TLC. Let's show some respect. Voted 5th Pride, best Pride in the world. This year was the biggest and best, and my liver and my dignity are still recovering. So let me introduce my co-host for tonight, no stranger to On the Rocks, or to some juicy gossip, which we might have some juicy gossip for you, but this is a professional episode.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Let's keep it professional.
Let's keep it professional. Sip. Okay. Dr. Sessa. John graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree from Wabash College, majoring in Spanish and International Business. He also received a Master of Business Administration from South University, graduated with a 3.9 GPA. Why not a 4.0?
It was that
Slacker.
damn A-.
It was at A-. A doctorate in business administration, concentrated in international business and global finance. He worked as the head of in-house PR for marketing for Rock and Republic, being fluent in English, Spanish, and Italian, and the language of love, by the way. Dr. Sessa was an integral part of the company's very successful global marketing launch of their jeans and accessories. I love those jeans. Wish I could fit into them, but Dr. Sessa also worked in a variety of industries, including oil and gas, aerospace, real estate development, and biotech. And for 3 years, he operated as the controller for Eco Ventures Group, Incorporated, a renewable energy company focused on producing alternative forms of energy to service the growing global demand. He currently owns and operates his own business development consulting company with over 10 years' experience in developing policy and marketing procedures according to their defined business framework.
I thought we're going to shorten that bio.
I did shorten it. I was like, my printer was like, again? Of course, currently, Dr. Sessa is the executive director of the Vanderpump Dog Foundation, co-founder of Vanderpump Pets with Lisa Vanderpump and Ken Todd. They released a documentary, The Road to Yulin, which was Dr. Sessa's directorial, writing, and producing debut. He has published works with titles too complicated for me to wrap my cute little mouth around, so please welcome back John Sessa.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Literally, I cut that in half, too, by the way.
I got to work on that bio next time.
Just say, like, he's smart, cute, and, funny. And on a TV near you, which we'll talk about. I just go for it right away.
I mean, like, you just go right to it.
Okay, so we know you do so much work on behalf of dogs and animals, really, around the world, literally around the world. But when you come on, I'm flooded with the same kind of emails, so we're just going to get it out of the way. So we can have, like,
go right
a
ahead.
real professional show. Bravo TV drama, and is he dating anyone? Are you dating anyone? And what does it take to date Mr. Dr. John Sessa?
I am dating.
You are?
But, I mean,
I'm the last
too,
to know.
Right? But I'm too busy. I mean, I really, unless you're a dog with 4 legs, I don't know if I have time for you.
There's a gay joke in there, but I'm just not going to do it.
Haven't got it. I know what I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah, okay. How long have you been dating? Our listenership just went...
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm dating people.
Oh, it's not just one person.
So, yeah.
Oh, so you're just dating around, but you're not dating like
No, I'm not exclusive with anybody right now.
Well, you're gay. I mean, that will never happen.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that was kind of cryptic. Does this
What do you mean
person
it's
know
cryptic?
that you're dating?
They should know that we're dating, yes?
Should we call him right now? Because I have a feeling. No. Just kidding.
Let's get him on the phone.
Yeah. Okay, so that's out of... Okay, but... So somebody just has to know that you're busy all the time. But, like, what do you
Yeah,
really look
but
for?
honestly, I'm in China every 4 to 5 weeks for 10 days. So, I mean, that's a hard thing to get over.
To me, that's perfect. I don't need to be around somebody all the time.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
like,
And then,
go do your thing.
and then you've got, I work, and I've got a lot of extra obligations that are coming up and pending that I'm sure we'll probably get into later. But I do think that, no, I mean, I think it takes someone that's obviously patient because I am busy.
Okay, patient, but, like, what do you look for in somebody?
I really want a connection, and obviously they have to like dogs. I mean, I think that's probably the first thing. What about you, Evan? I mean, animals are always a key. Like when I'm like,
because animals know before you know. They know when there's something
oh
wrong.
yeah,
They're
and
like,
if my dog growls at you or they don't like you, then
Yeah.
immediately it's like, sorry,
yeah.
you're done.
Well, you have like
You
40
didn't
dogs
pass.
at your house too. I mean,
Like 15, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that'd be really weird for either of us to be with somebody that doesn't appreciate
Yeah.
dogs
Right,
or animals.
or animals in general,
Yeah.
exactly.
but they say a key to figuring out somebody that you want to date is how they treat animals and how they treat your parents, especially like your mom. If somebody
Those
says
are
you're
good
close
rules.
to your mom, and they're like that, it's like, it's
Well,
not gonna
clearly
work
with
out.
you, that's very important because
Well,
we
yeah.
love your mother.
Well, because she's there with a clipboard, and she's like, okay, credit score, car, no in-laws, perfect.
10-year plan, please.
Yeah. Girl, I have a 10-minute plan. I'd settle for that. Okay. A lot of the Bravo TV drama has kind of slacked off. Lisa Vanderpump doesn't need Beverly Hills Housewives, even though they definitely need her. Are you still receiving a lot of chatter about Puppygate?
I mean, I think that Puppygate is going to be one of those infamous things that are
Yeah.
never going to go away. I think it's one of the things that really sticks out in Bravo people's mind that follow the Bravo chain of events. I mean, I think that's one of it is what made one of the OGs kind of quit the franchise. And so I think that will always be one of the most dramatic things, and it is called Puppygate. So
I mean, it seemed
anything
like the
gate.
season was kind of wrapped around that.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was, and then when that was kind of done, then the show was kind of like, okay. I know I visited Vanderpump Dogs on 3rd Street in Los Angeles, and those frosted doggy treats that you have in the
Our bakery, our puppy bakery.
they're so good. Like,
They're
They
so
had me
great.
full too the first time. I was like, wait.
I was like, can I just have one?
Well, they're like not so sugary gingerbread cookies. I love them, actually.
Your dogs just get treated really well. But it's always full of looky-loos, which actually benefits because I know at the gift shop, everything you sell actually goes right back to the foundation. So do you think all that drama was good in the long run for the organization and for the brand?
Well, I think in general, whenever you have a hiccup in the rescue community, it's never good. You know,
Yeah.
you never want to have a dog go back to a shelter. You never want to have a dog relinquish. So, I think as far as a rescue standpoint, I think no, that it was a complete failure, obviously. But I think as far as a business standpoint, I think that anytime you're that pushed in the forefront of media or anything in general, I think that obviously is something that can be good for business if you can capitalize on it. I think that after the first episode of last season, the stairs were kind of an iconic thing that everyone wanted to take a picture with because that's where, you know, the women had their breakdown and then their convo and everything. So from a businessman standpoint, I think it was great for business, and we've branded ourselves. Like you said, everything from the merchandise area goes back to the dogs.
Right.
So everything Vanderpump Dogs Los Angeles goes back to the dogs. But from a rescue standpoint and as an executive director, no, I think that it definitely was a puppy failure.
But I did like that we saw no matter how much money you have, you still have to be a decent human being. You still have to take care of your responsibilities.
Exactly. And we treat everybody the exact same. Just because you're a celebrity or just because you know someone within the organization, it always comes towards the dogs and the well-being of the dogs.
We have Dorit on the phone. Just kidding. Would you just die? Would you die?
Did you see my face? I think I'd probably play it back. I
She's
mean,
not
I was
busy.
like,
She's co-hosting Public Access. Literally. Anyway, I can say this. You cannot.
I can laugh though.
Yes, you can. What is going on with the Vanderpump Dog Foundation? What's up ahead?
Well, we just celebrated 1,300 dogs being saved and rescued in the Southern
Congratulations.
California community. We have 508 dogs that we've rescued from the meat trade, currently between 2 shelters in China. So that's why I'm there every 4 to 5 weeks. We're now in 6 different countries. So we're in Venezuela, Peru, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and obviously the U.S., and then China. So it's grown. I honestly can't even believe in 3.5 years how much it's grown, and it's all been organic. I mean, I'll never forget when we first sat down with Lisa, and she was like, "Let's just do this, but always have fun doing it." So it's been fun.
Well, and it's not always, like on the show, we saw all the glam to it. And I know that it is literally rolling up your sleeves in the dirt, fighting a policy, fighting people, finding ways of thinking. And it's not that glamorous. Like what we see is not the reality of it.
It's really not, but it really is all about community and teamwork. And there are the glam moments, like our gala a week from Thursday, November 21st. That'll be wonderful. It's black tie.
I think we actually have a picture of you from stage from one of those galas. It's like you and like a big, huge stage.
Let's see.
Well, we'll find it.
We'll find it.
Yeah, there's so many pictures of you at galas. It's a big stage, Tony.
So anyway,
People with sleeves, Tony. I know he's not used to people with sleeves. Oh God, this is gonna take forever. Okay.
The glam of it all is really great, but also the community aspect of it. And you are picking up poop, and you are kind of getting in the muck of it all. So you get that dichotomy of the two different things, which is good.
Do you already have your outfit planned? There you are.
Oh, lovely.
Do you know what you're gonna wear this year?
Oh, I'm getting a lovely little custom-made tux
excuse
number.
us,
No, I'm just
girl.
kidding. No, I'll just wear a tux.
I love when I get like outfits from places like Pride. Thank you, Trina Turk, by the way. But there's certain cuts, and I was like, let's go for my fitting. I'm like,
Oh no.
Okay.
Batman in
There
a
you go.
little coat. I
Not
was just saying,
funny.
like me in general.
and that's our show. Thanks so much. Will you be at the gala?
I will be. Very
God.
much looking forward to
If
it.
that's not reason enough to go and like buy your ticket,
Dr.
and
Evan
donate,
Antin in a tuxedo? Come on.
It's black tie, huh?
Yes.
All right. Tuxing up it is.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
just not finding out. Sorry about
Maybe
that.
a little bit.
Okay.
No, I'm sure it's
He
in
could
the,
literally walk in his scrubs, and people are like, this season's look is scrubs all the way.
You have no idea.
I wish it was scrubs. It'd make my job a whole lot easier. Okay, when are you? This is a question I got many different ways, worded very differently. When are you getting your own spinoff? This is
I don't
a
know,
question I
Evan.
got.
When are we getting our own spin-off?
Yeah.
It's a 2-for-1.
It might be. No, honestly, there's been a lot of talk about it, and I think it's something that would be great. I mean, if it happens, then I think seeing dogs and seeing rescue dogs on television would be great. I mean, I think the society's moving towards that, and they would love to see that,
Definitely.
the transformation, and just the dogs that we have come in from dogs that were hit by a car and thrown on a median,
Yeah.
or the dogs that were from a hoarding situation and they have this unbelievably terrible past, and then they go forward in their future and they find these amazing homes. I think that would be a great show.
I mean, the transformations are incredible. I mean, like what he's saying, these dogs come from, whether it's L.A. or China, just the most horrible backgrounds. And then these guys can completely transform and be a livable, happy, healthy pet in a home and better the people's lives around them, too. I mean, they're just incredible stories. And
I would love I would love to see a show like that because it's a positive spin in reality TV, which I think we're done with the tiredness of the fights and the whininess. We can have a little of that, but
a little tinge.
But I think we need some positivity.
I mean,
happening.
the thing is, there's no need to add any extra drama. You see what these dogs go through.
Because he has enough, yes.
And what I mean, thank you very much. But really, all of it's there.
Yeah.
You're gonna, working with these kinds of animals, and I worked with different rescue animals and wildlife and gnarly situations too. And the stories are there. You don't need to overproduce it or anything. And so when it comes to putting something like that on TV, I think there's just so much potential with it.
Well, and what I really love seeing on the Instagram for Vanderpump Dogs is you see the dogs when they come in. And it's not just what you do for them physically, because you obviously nurture them. And I know there's a whole process, because I got to take a tour, and there's a whole process that the dog goes through. But it's this energy that comes through on the pictures in the after with the dog. Like, if dogs could really smile, like, you literally see it there.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think dogs do smile. I mean, you see those before afters when you get them, they're just the saddest things. Then you see them in the car going home or at somebody's home or, and they're just
in the backyard. And
totally.
And getting them Vanderpuffed and getting them groomed and getting them in their living rooms and getting them situated. It does make a difference from when they first come in scared and timid to when they're jumping around in the agility park or whatever. It's really lovely.
I have a friend who needs to get Vanderpuff so that he could, get a little confidence.
Everyone could use a little Vanderpuffing, I think.
That's a good slogan. Everybody could use a little Vanderpuff.
Yeah, you need to make some shirts
right?
like that.
Yes.
Definitely, or like bags or something.
I want to formally introduce our guest making his On the Rocks appearance, Dr. Evan Antin, voted numerous times among People Magazine's sexiest man alive. Dr. Evan hails from Kansas City, where he grew up spending the majority of his childhood in search of native wildlife, including snakes, turtles, and insects. Dealing with certain snakes in Hollywood today, I'm sure. He went on to study evolutionary and ecological biology at the University of Colorado at Boulder, spent multiple semesters abroad in Australia and Tanzania to learn about the respective ecosystems and fauna. I've always liked that word fauna, by the way. Like, I just love it. If I had a girl, I would name her Fauna.
Ooh, I like that.
That's you.
Yeah, that's sexy. Poor girl. In addition to his love for cats and dogs, Dr. Anton's passions lie in exotic animal medicine and interacting with exotic animals in their native habitats around the world. And for more than a decade, he has made an effort to seek opportunities to work with wildlife on a domestic and international level, to include such locations as Central America, Australia, New Zealand, South America, Eastern and Southern Africa, Southeast Asia, and a variety of North American ecosystems. Now you're like, God, I have to catch up.
I don't know. I still think he's got me.
No.
Yeah,
No,
I thought
no.
Johnny was like 24. I'm like, how did he do so much?
I get that comment. It's like, well, did he start doing this? Like, was he a child prodigy?
I think he was like a
little bit.
like a 14-year-old, like
I'm
getting
older.
his master's.
I know, I'm older than you. Did you know that?
No.
What?
I'm older than you, yeah.
How old do you think I am?
Let's not talk age, shall we?
I'm 38.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought I was like a few years older than you. That's crazy. I'll be 35 next month in a couple weeks. No, about a month.
I'm the old man.
Yeah.
And
No, I
that's
had
all
no
we're going to
idea.
talk about. Dr. Anton has been happily employed as a full-time associate at Conejo Valley VH, directly following his graduation from Colorado State's veterinary school in 2013. Since then, he's developed a clinical, medical, and surgical skills to help provide the right care for dogs, cats, exotics, and wildlife of the Conejo Valley. You have to check out his Instagram. Literally every type of animal has been in his hands. Except, anyway, he also served as host on Evan Goes Wild on Animal Planet. You can stream the full season. Really fun stuff. Please welcome Dr. Evan Anton.
Thanks for having me.
So we all grow up and we naturally incline ourselves. Like, mine was classic movies and Broadway musicals. Yours was animals. But do you remember when that fascination started?
I mean, it's been as long as I can remember. As soon as I could walk. So I grew up in Kansas, in the suburbs outside of Kansas City. And I was really lucky to have a creek in my backyard. My mom was really into gardening, and she had all these little gardens, and I had all kinds of stones, and I could flip and look for insects and snakes and stuff. So, I mean, that was what I would do. I mean, I spent as many days as I could when it was nice out enough to do that, doing that. And I mean, I go to people's, my friends' houses, and they wouldn't invite me back over because I'd want to go in their yard and look for animals, and they just wanted to play video games. So I was just kind of doing my thing. Yeah.
I mean, that has to be a natural love because when I was a kid, my mom would put me on a blanket and it would be grass and I would touch it and I just knew outdoors was not for me. Creepy, crawly things.
He'd run
was
back
not
onto
for
the
me.
blanket.
Yeah. And animals can be icky and gross from
Yeah.
a different point of view.
Especially the animals that you love.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I
The
love
snake-
reptiles.
the
Like
snakes
those
and
are my love really started with reptiles, and so yeah, that's I think that's just something I'm born with. I mean, it was fostered too. I mean, my parents, they supported that and encouraged it, both of them. So it was like nurture and nature. But I was lucky.
Now, people who love animals don't necessarily make good vets. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, becoming a vet itself is not easy. I mean, I think it's actually easier now to get into vet school than it was even just 10 years ago when I went or got accepted. But it's challenging. I mean, the course load's really tough, and so a lot of people have a big heart for animals. But
Yeah.
some of the chemistry subjects and anatomy, physiology stuff like that's not so easy. So, that might be a problem. And then a lot of people also. I mean, I hear this a lot on social media. People saying, I love what you do. I'd love to do it, but I can't stand the sight of blood. I can't cut into an animal or something like that. So that's another challenge potentially for other people. I like that. I like exploring and learning, and I have a natural comfort level with that. And then the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. But that can be a bit of a roadblock for some people.
And how do you feel about the euthanasia or just the death that
That's
you have to
actually another really good. I'd say that's the top. Those are the top three right there, and you just nailed it. The what it takes to become a vet, the surgery, and then euthanasia is a huge part. And I hear that a lot, actually, John.
I mean, I just know
can't
I
imagine.
couldn't. I mean, I love animals, and I just don't think I could ever become a vet for that reason. And then I would know that I would have to put a dog down or constantly see that over and over again.
Kind of playing God. I mean, the first time I remember being, I was euthanizing a dog for the first time. That I was in that, doctor's role essentially. I was doing it with a resident, and this was in vet school. And I was fighting back tears the whole time, man, because I see this. This is the family's dog, and this was in the best interest of the dog. It was, but it was brutal. I mean, I cried that night. I was a mess. I mean, that was really tough. And so what I always, it doesn't. I've done it more, so I can handle myself a little better. But it doesn't get easier in that sense. But what you have to keep reminding yourself is we're doing this in the best interest of the animal.
Right.
I'm so fortunate. I've never been a full-on shelter vet, and my heart for those guys, because there are shelters where they're just
Completely
it's
overrun,
not
yeah.
that the animal's unhealthy. They have to do what they think is in the best interest of the whole big picture. So I'm very lucky in the case that anytime I euthanize a dog, it really or any animal, and I've euthanized many species. It's in the best interest of these animals, and prolonging their life and their suffering is doing nobody any benefits. And I get more frustrated, to be honest, when I have owners and their dog or their pet is just like, dude, they're done. Like they're not enjoying their days, And being a dog's all about living in the moment.
Right.
We're not trying to keep them around so they can meet their grandkids or stuff like that. I mean, they're just, if they don't enjoy their days and they're not, happy and comfortable, what are we doing? And so it's what I was getting at. It's more frustrating when people prolong it and delay it and wait till it's too late. And if an animal has, especially if they have like a terminal diagnosis and they're starting to go down that road and it's only getting worse. What a gift we have. What a blessing that we can put them out of their misery before it really gets intense.
Some stories have gone viral on social media where somebody knows that they have to put their dog down and they'll have like an amazing last day with like the best food, going to the beach. I'm just sitting there
Steak,
crying
yep.
my eyes out. It's tough. We connect with animals sometimes a little bit better than humans. I know I do. I don't like most people, but I love every animal.
I think a lot of animal lovers do.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to vet school, I think a lot of people didn't realize you need to connect with humans too, because you're working for many clinical vets. You're working with pets owners,
Right.
So it's good to be. It's important. It's kind of necessary to be a people person. So a lot of people, that was hard for me. It was like, I don't like people. I don't have a lot of friends. I just want to focus on animals. Like, whoa,
Got to do
that
both.
might be a challenge for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first break to take our selfie that you can see on Instagram. When we come back, more of the doctors. Okay, let's take a quick selfie.
The doctor.
Doctors.
Doctors.
I like that.
Scooch in there, John. Oof, sorry. I have short arms. Perfect. Okay. And we're back. There we go. Okay. 2015, you hit the scene in a very public way. Of course, People magazine, I think the section was like Sexiest Men at Work, and it was like the Sexiest Veterinarian. And then you started Instagram soon after that, and since then you've become a TV and social media star. When was the first moment that you realized, oh, people are really paying attention to me and people think that they know me now?
I mean, so I started my Instagram actually shortly after graduating vet school. And
Oh,
so this is
okay.
2013. And that People magazine, it was probably circulating a bit in 15 because usually they put it out at the end of the year, like November,
Yeah.
December. But it was 2014, the first time I was in
They
that.
actually just put it out now. John Legend was named Sexiest Man.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
I love
Right
it.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, November it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
typical as far as I've seen. So yeah, I was doing the social media. I landed my first TV show in 2013, and I was a wildlife expert on the Kris Jenner show.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it was super fun, and we had like 2 segments. I was on that show. It was like 13 minutes total. I had
I didn't know
6
that.
animals.
That's
so
cool.
it was like my dreams come true because I mean when I was 21 is when I realized I wanted to do raise awareness for animals in a broader way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bigger or better than what anybody else is doing. It's just in a different way, and just try to get that awareness out there. And so I was making wildlife educational videos on YouTube for my travels from Australia and Africa and Southeast Asia, Central and South America, stuff like that. And then they found those videos and they had me on the show, and it was a blast. And I was like, oh my god! I remember sitting restraining this 7-foot alligator, and then
Just
I was-
casually restraining this 7-foot
I did that on a
alligator.
Friday in West Hollywood. It's fine.
well, I was very nervous going into it. Like I'd never done anything like that before.
Alex generally is too, going into West Hollywood.
How dare you, sir? I can handle a 7-footer.
And I was like battling myself to just not to fight, not just leaving right there and then because I was so nervous about it. And I was a little shy the first few animals, and then an alligator came out, and I'm restraining it and talking about it, and I look up and I see these cameras in front of me and this whole audience. I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually doing it, like in my head. And then it just was super fun from there, and then it picked up. I did a couple more shows that year. Did a little bit more in 14, then more in 15, and just kind of went from there. I went viral on social media at the beginning of 2016.
Yeah.
And then that brought a lot more opportunities. I mean, that was one of the biggest blessings I've had. I've had a lot of blessings. I count my lucky stars every day, but going viral was definitely one of those.
Well, I love your Instagram because obviously you're good looking, but you don't take yourself seriously, and it's always fun videos, and it's always but educational at the same time. So I applaud you on that.
Oh, thank you, man. Means a lot. I appreciate
like
that.
watching that. So
I appreciate that.
One of the questions we did get, and this is actually from an influencer that has been on the show.
Right on.
You've done a good job at having a high profile on social media, but you also have done a good job of keeping your private life private, such as I don't know what you ate, I don't know what pajamas you wear, I don't know what hair product you use. Was this a conscious effort to be like, this is my professional life and my life is my life? Because it's very, like you said, it's a great brand, but there is that. This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
tell us, hairspray or mousse? Come on.
If you say natural, I'm out of here. Like I just can't.
Yeah. Well, clearly I have something in there. No, I use like a fiber, yeah.
It's like the sweat
but
of a
don't
mighty
tell
lizard.
anybody that.
Right.
Sweat
of a mighty lizard.
You should develop a whole thing of products, just like you, like rubbing a frog against your hair, and it's like poof.
I see. That's what we're trying to fight against here.
Oh, sorry. Leave it to me.
Yeah. All right. No. It's funny because I do want these. I do have these professional goals, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm a very private person.
Yeah.
So there is some effort there. I mean, listen, I do have some posts where I'm just clearly just kicking it at home. I'm not doing anything, saving any animals. I'm just sitting there with my, my rescue cat, and we're on the couch, and it's really not a significant or meaningful or productive post. But sometimes I'll have fun like that. But yeah, I'm this weird mix of very private, but also a little public. So there's some conscious effort in that.
I found too, with the much smaller amount of followers that I have, when I don't post something with a dog or with a rescue dog, or especially with a dog from China, there's not as much engagement. Like, I don't feel, maybe it's my own, I don't feel that people necessarily want to see that part of it. I think they want to see more of the rescue. As far as my followers, I don't know.
I mean, people love your brand and they love what you do, and you do big things. I mean, going to China, like that's putting your money where your mouth is. You're really getting in the trenches and doing this intense work, and I think that's where people love to see it. Your following is really keen on that. I mean, you're a good looking dude, and so they want to see that too. But I see the same kind of thing. I mean, if I don't have an animal, it often doesn't get as good of engagement, unless
That's interesting because we've had the opposite. Like a musician will say, hey, it'll just be me shirtless or me in a suggestive pose. And it's like, blip, 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 blip. Here's me sharing 30 seconds of my new single. It's like, blip.
That's the thing. It's a fine line because
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, some of the things I'm most passionate about and so excited about don't get as good of
Right.
engagement. And I think it's because it's balancing that line. It's got to be entertaining. It's got people don't go to Instagram to learn. We want to teach, and we both do that with our followings. But they don't. A lot of our following wants to learn, but most of them, I think they just want to be entertained. They just want to see something cool. So when you can find that combination of a fun moment with an animal, an exciting moment, or a funny moment, and then combine it and do it right. Yeah, and then you can incorporate those teaching moments too. And a lot of times that's just in the caption.
Right. And
it's me just doing something silly with a giraffe. But if you read the caption, which probably most people don't do, but that's your opportunity to learn if you're wanting to learn.
I'll tell you, some of the posts I've really engaged with yours is when you're with an animal I haven't really seen, or I haven't seen an animal in that situation. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh, that's that animal. Okay,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think a lot. I get excited about that too. I mean, I remember, and I try to, project the excitement that I had when I first learned about this stuff onto my audience, because I think they're going to get as excited as I am, and often that's often not the case. But yeah, if it's like a new species or some cool surgical procedure or something, just some crazy fact, then just like, oh my god, that's insane! Like everybody has to know this, and so I just get excited about it.
Fun fact about that, actually.
Yeah.
We were just over at my partner Lisa's house, Lisa Vanderpump, and Evan went on for a while about the inner lining of the stomach of the intestines of a lizard or something. And for the first I think the first minute we were all like, okay, and then after 2 minutes we're like, okay, and then after
It's
5
20 minutes later, part 2 of our series.
like, is he still talking about the inner lining of the lizard's stomach?
I get very passionate, Johnny.
I love it.
You're gonna keep saying that. Yeah.
But it's great that there's this excitement. Today we have the movies get louder and bigger and more CGI. We're not pleased anymore by what's just around us. So knowing that there's this excitement and discovery still happening in our own ecosystem, we just don't know to look for it. It kind of brings us all back to basic. This is the world that we came into.
Right.
The world didn't come to us. Animals are not ours. We're here as guests on the planet.
Exactly. I mean, sharing that natural world, and a lot of it's new for people, and a lot of it's just like, wow, that's a really cool way to look at it. But it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like the same things on social media. Like, I mean, there's so many videos that we see every day now that I feel like 10 years ago it would go viral. We'd be sharing it to be like, oh,
That's
did you
exactly
see this? This is crazy. And now it's just like next.
Because this is our attention. We're talking to somebody. We're scrolling through here. The TV's on in the back, and we have music playing. And then, there's this controversy now taking the likes away from Instagram. I don't care about likes either way, because I'm not an influencer that way. But I think Instagram's going to be even less interactive. Because to like, you actually have to press like and say, okay, my name is on that like. Now, we literally can slide through without interacting at all.
I think you're right. I think the little attention span we already have is going to shrink.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me, because I feel like, I mean, when I post a video, I think if I don't captivate or do something that draws interest in the first 1.5 seconds or so, and if it looks like it's a slow produced thing, next.
1.5 seconds.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's true though. No, you're right.
You see these overproduced, beautiful videos from videographers or naturalists or whatever, and I like that stuff. That's cool, but you see their engagement's horrible.
TikTok did a big campaign, so they reached out to a lot of people. Right. I'm sure they reached out to you guys of set up your account, and then this is how you're going to get paid and all this. And it was about building the story. I'm like, nobody's going to pay attention for 10 seconds. Because like you said, if something's not happening immediately, they don't care.
Done. Yep.
If you see an empty room and then somebody comes in the frame 5 seconds later, who cares?
And it's different. I've noticed a difference even from 3 years ago. Some of the things that would go, get really good engagement on my page don't now.
But it's funny because we'll sit through a 3-hour Avenger movie that's totally vapid. No offense if you like that, but that's 3 hours.
Marvel movies. No, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you're
people
right.
are like this.
It is interesting. I mean, I'm with you, man. I love the classics too.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
I do movie nights, regularly, and I rarely watch something that's beyond the 90s.
Turner Classic Movies is my jam.
All right, we're all aging ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
I like Marvel movies. What are you talking about?
I just love that you listen to K-Earth, oldies,
nobody's
and it's
gonna listen to this.
I'm a total
Who
millennial.
are
What are
these
you talking
guys?
about?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's hilarious.
How do you mentally and physically prepare yourself for traveling to an exotic location? We see the fun of it just like we see, the glamour, hanging out with animals, meeting new people, but there's that exhausting, challenging side of it, even from the time zone, but from being in different food environments, different atmosphere environments. It's just, how do you, when you're going to go, what is that preparation process like?
I mean, I've been traveling like that since for almost 15 years. And so I'm a bit more used to it now. And to be honest, I mean, it's another trip. I mean, it's become so normal. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like these last few years, with how many more opportunities have come up, I used to be excited about traveling. If I got one international trip a year, which is awesome and better than most people, have the opportunity to do, I was stoked. Like that was awesome. I would like have all my cameras set up, and back then I didn't have an iPhone, that could do a good video and good pictures. I had my camcorder, I had my little digital camera. I had all my other
set.
gear. Yeah, and so I'd get all packed up and have all my gear, my snake hook, my croc snare, my compass, my knives, like everything just ready. And now, packing's quicker because I don't have quite all that stuff, but I've done it so much. I love it. I'm used to it. And to be honest, like when I first started doing it, it was part of the excitement. It's like, okay, I had to take some rough transportation. I had to stay in some nasty places. I had to eat some weird shit, just to be able to do this stuff. But it's like it all fueled into what I was ultimately wanting to do. So it kind of made it like fun and exciting in a way. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but I guess I've just done it for a while, so I'm used to it. But then I step outside the box and think, oh man, I don't think I would take 90% of my friends on a trip with my friends on a trip like this. I think they would be just annoying as hell, and I take for granted.
Well, no, you do.
Think about it. When you go to China and you're doing that stuff. I mean, dude, who would you really be comfortable taking?
Because I think we've joked. I'm like, I want to go. I'm like, there's this nightclub and this.
So many people say that. I want to go to China with you. I want to go to China.
Sure
and I'm like, listen, you're in a car for 6 hours. We might sleep in the car. You might follow a dog truck.
And like rural Chinese food is not going to Mr. Chow's.
No, it's not.
No.
How long do you go on your trips normally for?
I mean, when I first started, I traveled, studied abroad a couple times, and those were parts. I mean, especially Tanzania, that was pretty rugged at times. But I mean, I would do my own traveling for 2 or 3 months at a time.
Wow.
Through most of my 20s. Then these days, I'm usually not gone for more than 3 or 4 weeks at a time.
That's a long time. 3 to 4 weeks is a long time.
I'm sorry, 2 or 3. No, I haven't done a month for a while. 2 to 3. And usually it's closer to 2.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's a minute, but like compared to like my other, I have the perspective of it being not as long, so I can deal with it better.
And where do you get your workouts in the middle of Africa?
That's literally what the question was. How do you keep your fitness up?
I mean, so for the show, I bought this obnoxious collapsible
I love that you're
pull-up bar.
whispering, like,
I know, right?
just between us.
I know I feel bad about it because my
the show.
producers were so annoyed about it. They're like, "Oh my god, this fucking guy," and I was so like into like episode 5. I was so sick of just doing push-ups in the room and trying to do pull-ups on tree branches. I'm like, I need to have something a little bit more. And so I would set this up in my room. It gave me a lot more variety I could do with my workouts, and that was really helpful. So for this last trip, I just got back from Uganda like a week ago. And before Uganda, I found this awesome like tension-based pull-up bar that can fit into a door frame.
Oh, nice.
And so you just you like unwind it and put these crimps on it to basically keep it so the tension stays and it stays in place. And then I bought 2 TRX bands or like straps.
Oh yeah.
So I can adjust the heights, the lengths of them, and everything. And that, I mean, you can do a lot with that. I mean, with your own body and a couple things to grab onto, that really opens up your options. So. Even on some of those big days, I mean, we'd be out in the hot tropical sun, getting my ass sunburned, and working on giraffe all day, and in the back of pickup trucks in the middle of the field, just getting my ass kicked. I'd still try to come back and get a workout in. Even if it was just 40 minutes, just get if I can get like 12 or 14 sets, of the total workout, like 3 or 4 different movements, and get a pump and feel good. I mean, that's at least easily enough to maintain.
Plus, it probably helps with your mental awareness, you being prepared for another long day. Like, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of animals or be present.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, with the mental thing, honestly, it keeps me emotionally stable. When I'm not working out, when I have been, and I'm sure, I think everybody that works that you feel this is like, you almost get a little foggy and a little bit depressed. And because you're not running those endorphins, and so when you get it back running again, it's so weird. It seems counterintuitive, but my energy's actually stronger, and I can accomplish more in a day, even on days I work out, where I burn a ton of calories and expend a ton of energy. I'm not like trying to, I'm not messing around. Like I'm trying to push myself when I train, and you just feel better.
Best cure for jet lag, a little gym time.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
I'm at the bar
so good
for my
for everything.
jet lag.
Yeah, if I've got something that I'm anxious about coming up, I'll try to get a good training that day. Run those endorphins out, and then I just come in calm and cool,
I want to take a little look. You do post videos on your Facebook page. This is from your last trip to Uganda. I kind of want you to walk us through as to what's happening here.
And we're doing this with UWA, the Uganda Wildlife Authority. to dart this buffalo, get this snare off, which is around his front right wrist. He's sedated. We're cleaning out the wound right now. We've already given some injections. We gave some antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, anti-parasiticide, and then a vitamin E injection. So this is totally incidental. We weren't planning on this. You never know what you're going to see here in the African bush. We happened to see a very lame buffalo, saw a chance to intervene and take care of him, and that's exactly what we did. And the lesion's already been sprayed. It's a disinfected. It's already been flushed as well. We did that before the spray. My big concern from the veterinary perspective is it's so close to his wrist. And once you get infection into the joint there, you worry about septic arthritis. And that basically means a bacterial infection inside the joint. That's a big issue. The fact that he's still bearing weight on it is a good sign where the actual snare was.
So, and these are the kinds of videos that you share, and this happened to just happen. And it was due, the traps were set by poachers?
Yeah, so it was a wire snare trap. You can find these all over sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, every country's got them. I've seen them in South Africa. I mean, I've seen them everywhere. And it's an easy way to get bushmeat. And so the trap gets on the animal. Sometimes it keeps the animal in place, but often they run away with it. And then they eventually get run down where they're a lot easier they either are found dead or they're a lot easier to hunt. You know, and this buffalo was super lame. I mean, he was a lot of times not putting weight on this foot. And I'm telling you, this African wildlife is so resilient and so hardy. And to see that kind of animal then so strong and so stubborn to be affected as he was, it was advanced. Then,
what was the outcome of that?
We don't know.
Oh.
You know, I don't know. I am going to keep up with the Uganda Wildlife Authority. That's basically like their Department of Wildlife in the country. And so I'll check in to see if they know. But it's tough. I mean, that was in Murchison Falls National Park. This is a big space with thousands of buffalo there. You know, so that was one of those like small conservation initiatives. You know, what we were doing was more big picture. The whole point of that trip was translocating giraffe to a place where they hadn't been for 40 years. They've been locally extinct there. And that was a big picture thing. But we were like, man, we got some time. We can help this guy
help as many
out.
people help as many animals as you can.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help them all, but you know, we were just lucky in that moment. We had time. We saw him. You know, there was we had the chance to intervene, and we were lucky that it was very successful. I mean, buffalo are actually the scariest animal to come across. They're very vengeful and they're extremely aggressive, and they're literally that's the last animal you want to be stuck face to face. I mean, worse than a hippo, worse than anything.
I think I've dated a buffalo in my time. But not only do you get to come across different animals, you come across different cultures, which comes with the territory, like literally. Like what's one of your favorite stories of like a cultural immersion?
Well, oh man! So when I did that study abroad in Tanzania, we did a homestay with the Maasai. So Maasai are one of the local indigenous tribes, if you will, of Eastern Africa. So you can find them in Kenya and Tanzania and some of those other East African countries. I think they go over in Uganda. I don't know for sure, but there's plenty of them in Eastern Africa and Kenya and Tanzania. And we did a homestay, and this was very new for me. I've never met a culture like this in my life. So
you're living with the people.
Living with the people on the land, like as full-on African tribal as you can imagine, like super full-on. And so I was really lucky. I got placed with the community chief. Okay, so I got to stay in his home. And his wife, you know, kind of took care of things and took care of us and everything. And man, I remember when we first got there, they wanted to celebrate, and it was kind of like a ceremony / like, you know, we just appreciate that you're here visiting us kind of thing. And so they wanted to have a little goat barbecue. Oh. Yeah, and so I at that time I was in undergrad. I wasn't a vet, you know, I wasn't a vet yet and everything. Obviously, I knew a bit about animals, but you know, I had a lot to learn. I didn't know that, you know, these people, how they slaughter some of their animals. Most of the time they put an incision through the neck, and that bleeds them out. It's a pretty quick, not horribly painful death. It's, you know, not ideal, but it could be worse. But this goat, they decided to asphyxiate. And so what they did is they literally put the poor thing in a headlock, kept the mouth closed, plugged the nostrils.
Oh, God.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm getting like a little brutal on the show. I'm so sorry, guys. That was probably too much.
It's
this is real. Yeah, you asked. You went there.
Yeah.
So
you asked.
I asked, girl.
Damn it.
Yeah.
First dates with Dr. Evan.
And so that's just the beginning of it. Right, yeah. You still want to be my friend? Yeah.
Yeah. Fun times. Talk about stomach lining and goat asphyxiation.
And euthanasia. I'm just so much fun.
Party
with
with
you guys.
this one.
Where is my drink, right?
Good God.
So they chose to slaughter that way because they wanted to preserve the blood. And so they the goat was deceased. They roll it on its back and make a big incision down its stomach. And then this Maasai, one of the chief's warriors, basically pulled out some blood clots. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? And then he ate one and then gave it to me to eat. I'm like, okay, eating fresh, warm blood goat clots. That's
I don't know.
not
if
done
I
this
couldn't.
first.
No,
No, I couldn't.
So I'm like, I hope
I
that's.
just ate.
Yeah, I didn't want to be
you, though.
rude.
I need to go on there. I've been on a diet.
I'm on the keto but no blood diet
Yeah.
or something.
Vegan here, please.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's not even. Yeah.
That's,
I don't even think they would get that.
No.
It's
No.
weird enough telling them that I have pet lizards that I put money and time into. When they're
Right.
like, "Wow,
and they're like, they're for
lizard?"
free, like around us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
What, you want this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$500.
So then he proceeds to reach deeper into the abdomen and grab a kidney. And the kidneys are kind of located towards the back. So he's like,
Yeah.
forearm deep in this goat's abdomen, pulls out a fresh, raw, warm kidney and starts cutting out slithers, like little slivers of it. And I'm like, no. And then he hands me one.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God. Oh.
It's making my hands sweat.
Yeah,
let's
like
do
everything
this.
about me is sweating right now.
So that was, yeah. And
So you just ate it?
what was I supposed to do? I kind of had to,
I don't know if I could.
I didn't want to be
physically-
rude. Like I wanted
Yeah.
to be accepted. I wanted this week to go well. I was going to be living with the chief. Like I mean, I like no joke. Me turning
old
that
were you?
down, 21. Me turning that down could potentially dramatically change
Yeah.
the course
Right.
the
course.
outcome of that week.
Yeah.
And so I thought, man, if they're doing it, they're still around. I think I'll be okay. Knowing what I know now as a vet, I'd be a little more hesitant to eat a fresh raw goat kidney. But yeah, that was intense. And even sleeping there, I was sleeping next to the goats in their boma, which is like basically it's their home. It's like a hut mud kind of thing. And the bed was not even 5 feet long and like a foot and a half wide. And I'm just like jammed in there, and the goats are right behind me, shitting and farting next to me all night. It was awesome.
I'd say that was
looking
a bit
back.
of a cultural difference.
It was
a bit.
different.
Yeah.
It was different. I mean, I've stayed in some pretty rugged places and gnarly places and disgusting hostels, and yeah, I mean, the stories go on. But that was very eye opening for me. I mean, that trip in Tanzania, and it wasn't just the Maasai, but I mean, from that experience forward, I still appreciate that every day I have clean, drinkable, running, temperature-controlled water in my home on every faucet. Like, what a luxury. I mean, that's such a special thing and that's just the beginning of it. I mean, the list goes on.
Oh, yeah.
And then you it's always a reminder of our first world problems and how much of a problem they really are compared to, your little brother just died or your kid died or the obstacles you have or. I mean, when they don't have, there's no such thing as insurance in those kinds of places.
Yeah.
If you everything gets destroyed by natural disaster, dude, start over.
Haiti, a goat is your insurance, literally.
Yeah.
Literally, if
Oh.
something happens, you sell a goat.
No kidding.
That's your insurance.
No, well, look
That's
at
your
that.
inventory. That's your savings account.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably like that in a lot of places around
Yeah.
the world. I'm sure
Yeah.
the Middle East has things like that. Probably in Africa too.
Dr. Evan, we got this email. You're a big fan of Steve Irwin's work.
Yeah.
What aren't you scared of around being around dangerous animals and?
Yeah, I mean, the key is having a healthy respect because a lot of my favorite animals, unfortunately, I guess, are potentially deadly. I love venomous snakes. I love crocodiles. I love big cats. I like working with primates. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, that can all be pretty sketchy. So the key is to having a healthy respect. And then, I'm very lucky, and I have a lot of experience to back this up too. But I think I have a natural, intuition to basically, I don't want to say communicate with animals because I don't think that's exactly a thing. But I can read them pretty well, and you can really they tell you animals are honest. They're not like people. They don't hide what they're feeling or hide what they're saying. They're not fake. They'll tell you everything. They're not going to say it in English. But if you look at their mannerisms, their body posture, their everything, just even from their ears, eyes, tail, everything, you can get a really good handle on what this animal's telling you right now. And so that goes a long way. And then knowing these animals, I know I can look at a snake when it's coiled up. I can tell you within probably an inch or so how far it can strike. I know how a crocodile can move. You start to learn that kind of stuff. And it's just all about having a healthy respect. I mean, Steve Irwin, a total legend. And that's a whole other thing. But I mean, this guy, died by something that's. I mean, I've never heard of anybody else dying from a stingray. Yeah. I mean, that's remarkably rare. That I've swam around so many stingrays before I heard that and after, and I've not once ever felt in any way threatened, let alone life threatened. And something you got to keep in mind with this guy, which is pretty cool and pretty unique, is for somebody that's handled so many venomous snakes through the course of his life, he was not bit once.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
So it's about taking the precaution, about your approach.
Well, and I think also just even with my experience with the dogs is that not everyone, just like we don't want everyone rubbing on us.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are certain people that you're like, okay, you can touch me. And then other people that you're like, wait, we need to have a first date.
Yeah, and they tell you that, right? I mean, you
100%. You can see, and I think that's what people. I think everyone thinks, oh, it's a dog. They should be treated the exact same, but they're just like us, where we have different personalities.
Exactly.
There's a dog that wants to be a recluse. There's a dog that wants to get all the attention. You know, so you do have to gauge that, and I think if you sense the body language of the dog or the animal, I think that kind of leads to that understanding.
I totally agree.
Especially from rescue dogs, our thought is they want to be rescued and hugged and loved, and sometimes they need to go through their own transition process.
Well, just like when you an abused woman or
Yeah.
man, after an abusive relationship, you need that time to heal, which, everybody's length of time for healing is different. So I think that's what you have to understand when you're dealing with a dog or any animal, really.
No, and that point's really valid, and that's that changes the whole dynamic. These guys actually have a very significant PTSD, and regardless of what happened, whether they were dumped, abused, or whatever, or about to be in the meat trade, that they're gonna have some serious trauma. And then just like Johnny said, like some people process that better than others. Yeah. Some people need more time and more therapy and more, more love and everything.
You actually work at a hospital in Conejo Valley. What's a typical day like when you're in work mode? What's a typical day for you?
I mean, it's like it always has been when I'm at work. I mean, I'm so part-time now because I travel so much and I've got so many other endeavors going on. So I don't get to get in there as much as I used to. I mean, I was very full-time for the first 4-something years I was there, 5 long days a week. I did overnights. I would do 4 overnights in a row the first year I was there. Like, it was intense. But now it's awesome. I mean, it's really just the same. I see appointments and do what just like any of my other colleagues do. It's just like another general practitioner. I mean, we're a unique hospital. We see a lot of exotics and wildlife too. But, yeah, it's still the same.
Do people make appointments just to meet you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can imagine that would happen. I've heard
that's
of
funny.
that happening. People go to a place of work and do they rent an animal to bring to you, or
I mean, I've
how
had
do you know when it's fake?
I mean, when they come in and they don't really have, I mean, so as a veterinarian, and most vets do this, and I think it's good practice, is just, communication's so important. And so one of the things I want to communicate and make clear is, why are we here today? What
Right.
what's our concern? What are we doing? Like, what can we do for you? And when that question's not answered, then it's like, oh, okay, so we can keep going here. But that's kind of one of the tip-offs. But yeah, I mean, I've had, producers come in and do that, where they don't tell me that, and then they maybe will tell me at the
that's
end,
funny.
or people that want to work together in some business or something.
Right.
So ridiculous. That's hilarious.
Yeah, women too sometimes. And it's
Oh,
just
heck.
like,
Does your staff just walk around staring at you all day?
I mean, they know it so well now. They tell me before I'm in the room, especially if it's like a, like
They
they're
can
trying to
sense
find a
it.
date.
They can
yeah,
tell,
they're
yeah.
like, we think she's got ulterior motives. Yeah.
She's all dressed up. She's hanging out. And,
Yeah, when you see that,
like
like
a
9 in the
parakeet.
morning, you're like,
A parakeet that she
like
bought from
it says the price tag on. But there is such a focus on your looks. It's really helped with your visibility and your message. But do you ever get the feeling that sometimes the looks aspect overshadows the actual work that you're doing?
sure, yeah. I mean, it's just, I'm just being realistic about it. I mean, I think a lot of people follow me on Instagram because they love animals too, and they love that. But I think part of it's that too. I mean,
I'm guilty. I'll tell you why I first followed. Somebody shared something, and I think it was People Magazine, and I was like, oh,
follow.
yeah. Now I'm an animal lover.
yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, So I never am upset about it. It's not an issue. Like, realistically, also, I mean, listen, this has gotten me so much awareness. It's given me the opportunity to do so much of what I do, and it's opened up this world for me in a lot of ways. So I make the most of it. I'm still doing what I love, and I focus on that. And if you're there for that, great. If you're there for the looks, if you're there for both, whatever, I just do what I love. I'm not doing anything that other people don't do. I'm not a revolutionary vet that's changing the world of animal care. There's plenty of vets that do what I do, and a lot of vets in areas that do it a lot better than I do. But I love what I do.
Well, I think it also what you've allowed it to is it opens a door slightly, but then also you are authentic and you are the real thing, and
Sincerity
so then
plays a
you know
big-
it that may get the follow, but then to continue to follow you and to continue to maintain that following, it requires you being authentic and being you. So I think that's what's great, and why
thanks, man.
well, that's why I've continued to follow, and obviously now we're good friends. But I really think that initially that's the thing. He was a hot guy, but then all of a sudden, oh wait, he's got interesting things to say and great videos, and it's actually interactive and educational.
I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure you have that aspect too. I mean, you have
Absolutely.
this resume of this education and these intelligent abilities. But then there's also, Vanderpump comes with a certain glamour. Like, you don't want a photograph taken with like dog shit all over and your hair sticking up, not because that's not what's happening, but because it's a
Right.
certain brand, it's a certain image.
No, it's true, and I think also it's similar. It opens the door to things, but I think that's what the authenticity and making sure that you really are authentic to what your true self is. And my true self is an Indiana farm boy that loves dogs.
I love that
and
about
so,
you.
like,
We're both from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just, but also we do recognize, and I recognize now that it comes, the Vanderpump name comes with a brand, and that I do want to uphold that brand as well as being authentic to myself. So,
But for you guys, it must be hard because you can't just go out and like be crazy. You can't be dancing on a table. You can't be in a bad mood and curse somebody out.
but Evan and I's crazy is not the crazy. Like, our crazy is not like going to a bar. Our crazy is like going to Gower in the 101 and vaccinating dogs and like rescuing dogs.
Wild and crazy guys.
No, but I mean, I do have to say that we like to have fun, but at the same time, I think that, I mean, for me at least, I get those kind of kicks when I'm like rescuing dogs or in China or doing that kind of stuff.
but
I told you I'm very good at separating my private life from my public life.
Right, but let's take it from like the party aspect, from even being in a bad mood. If somebody says, "Hey, can I get a selfie with you?" All it needs is like you being in a bad mood one day, and then all of a sudden the internet's full of like, "Oh, he's such a jerk. He wouldn't take a selfie with me. He was such a jerk." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can speak for both of us. I don't think that would, no matter what's going on in our personal lives, no matter what's going on, we're always going to be able to step back and be like, hey, this is somebody that appreciates what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can I ever
100%.
be,
Yeah.
annoyed with you? Like, I mean, this has been a huge part of my success is people like you that appreciate the work that I do. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm never going to say, get the hell out of my face. Like, I mean, mark my words, and if I do, you come let me know if I ever become that person.
Oh, believe me.
But I don't think I will. I mean, we're
Live
both
tonight.
yeah, we're humble guys. We appreciate what that, and that's you're never going to see that from us.
What animal is the most misunderstood animal in your opinion?
I am so glad you asked that.
Ooh, I'd be interested. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, so I love the underdogs, and when it comes to animals, a lot of my favorites are underdogs, and so I'll just name a few that I think are very misunderstood, and we can go into a little bit of why. Rats, spiders, snakes, sharks, I'd say are some of the big ones. Okay, so let's...
Sharks, I can see. The other ones,
I think Alex just went under the table
Yeah,
and
I was
crawled
like,
just from saying the
Yeah.
words.
Exactly, Okay, so, I mean, with rats, a lot of people think they're gross, and they're feral little things, and they just...
I hate
Yeah,
that. It's the
you're
only
raising
thing-
your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
but we're taught that in
and
movies that it's
I-
like from filth and.
Johnny, I guarantee you, I mean, I know the heart you have for animals, and you're a smart guy. If I introduced you to some of these rats and some of these rat owners, then have a legitimate human-animal bond with their pets. I mean, these rats, just like dogs, they have personalities. They like to cuddle. They like to be
We actually have a
with their
rat
owners.
here. No.
I mean, I think a big part of it's
No,
their
it's true.
tail. I mean, look at another rodent like a squirrel, for instance. They're different. They look a little different. They have
squirrels
different
are rodents.
lifestyles. But a squirrel's a rodent. Look at that big, cute, fluffy
It's
tail.
so cute.
And look at a rat's, very
Right.
relatively hairless tail. Look, it's weird. It's kind of oogie for people. It's
The
different.
red eyes.
Yeah, so, and not all rats have red eyes, but I think that's one, and really they're actually one of my favorite. Less,
You're so weird.
pets.
That is weird.
He's
I mean,
so
they're a
weird.
better pet than any other, almost any other rodent. I mean, guinea pigs are great, but I think rats have a lot more to offer. The biggest downside with rats is their short lifespan, because you fall in love with them because you have such a deep bond with them, and
What
they
is their lifespan?
average 2.5 years. I've met 10-year-old rats, but that's rare. Usually it's
Year and
2
a
to
half
3
too
years.
long.
And they're crafty and smart because they have
Remarkably smart, huge personalities. Okay, spiders.
Yeah, spiders, I don't get. Like a rat, I could see
I
if
like a
it's like
spider.
if it turns cute. But
Spiders are
they don't do
freaking
anything.
fascinating. When you look up close to those macro pictures of spiders, like look at this alien, like what a cool animal. They're super valuable. I mean, just like any of these guys, they are important in where they belong in their
course.
ecosystems, and they take care of a lot of insects and things that we don't want, getting in
they're
our home
not-
and that kind of thing.
You can't build like a rat. Like myself couldn't do it, but I could see how somebody could develop. Like, okay, because you can pet it, it's gonna like interact.
I mean,
with you.
that
A spider
goes-
doesn't interact with you.
Once we start getting outside of mammals, for the most part, there's very little of that, and so there's a big reason for that. And I might have nerded out about
Yep.
this a little bit the other night, longer than I should have. But we're
It's
gonna
about
get into
15
this
minutes.
again.
I could just see Lisa going like,
Yeah, she's good at pretending she's interested. I can say that much.
she's
at
English,
least.
she has manners.
Well, between that and Snooki humping her the whole time, I don't know
Oh my
what was
God.
like more distracting.
Mammals. So we as mammals have there's adaptations and reasons why we like to have these bonds and cuddle and groom. We release endorphins. It feels good, and this helps our survivalhood because we need to hunt together, or we need to protect each other, or we need to clean each other. All those things are really important for us to survive. So there's an evolutionary component to that. Whereas when you look at a reptile, they're hatched from an egg, or some are born live, and they're born as little miniature adults. They need to survive on their own. So cuddling is not in their repertoire. It's not benefiting them. And so when people tell you, "Oh no, my snake loves to be cuddled and it loves this and that,"
I've
and
heard
it's
that.
like, and listen, I love that you have this, that you like snakes and you have a relationship with your snake, and it seems to tolerate that well. And maybe it's just because it's warm, maybe it's just because it's so used to you that it just doesn't care. But it's not the
this
same.
person again.
Like releasing endorphins. Yeah, so that's once you get outside of mammals, that's the case. So like the other animals we talked about were snakes, sharks and spiders, for example. And there's many, many more, but those are some of the big ones that I see a lot. I mean it's a different appreciation, but snakes, I mean, they play a vital role in the ecosystem where they're native to, and plays. I think some island in Thailand or something, they tried to eradicate snakes. And they really shot themselves in the foot. The rodent population got out of control, spreading
Wow.
disease, tearing up vegetation, just a total shit show.
Those rats.
Yeah, it was mice, I think, in that case.
Mice are cute.
Mice are cute, and it's funny. I don't recommend them so much as a pet. Some of them can be. I'm not saying mice are bad. I love all these animals, but in terms of the engagement interaction, rats are far superior to mice in general. Sharks. People are afraid to go in the ocean because they're going to get bit by a shark. How many people do you think get bit by a shark every year?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Shark Week because I think sharks are beautiful to look at, and I'm
okay.
fascinated by the power and that they live this whole
Oh,
life.
I
They
love
could
this.
they could
Okay.
give a, they could
I
give
didn't
a
see this
crap.
coming.
Me either.
No, I'm obsessed with sharks.
Oh, hell
In fact,
yeah,
when I was a
okay.
kid, I wanted to be an oceanographer or oceanologist.
Like a marine biologist
Yeah,
kind of thing?
like I
No
love the
kidding.
fish. My mom would take me out of school to go to SeaWorld and
Oh my
surprise
God.
me because I was obsessed.
That is adorable.
But then
I
like
love
the
that.
fish poop and then the actual no. But like the idea of it. But sharks are so beautiful, and the fact that they live this whole life could give a crap about us. And that we don't even, like right now, we have no idea what's going on in the depths that we've never even seen before.
Oh, yeah.
And life is happening.
But we're so concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
With Shark Week and where they
I
are
love
and
Shark
what's
Week.
going to happen.
And like shark, even though it's ridiculous, but like shark movies, like Deep Blue Sea and Meg, obsessed. Anyway, I love sharks.
I mean, they're entertaining, I'm sure. They're obviously
Yeah.
pretty ridiculously inaccurate. But
Right.
yeah, sharks are super
What?
important.
They
for
are?
Yeah, yeah. They're really important. I mean, with the amount we're losing them from finning and bycatch with fishing, I mean, we're losing 70+ million a year. That's a big issue. And when you cut sharks out of the equation, the species below them overpopulate. It sets everything off. And they're cleaning up other fish, they're fish that are dead. Which is really important for a healthy ecosystem. They're controlling the prey species below them. They're keeping the whole food pyramid, the whole hierarchy of it kind of in check. And what I was getting at is, I mean, there's average 160 to 180 bites worldwide a year.
Wow.
An average of 6 fatal bites a year. So
out of how many people that go in the ocean and how many
yeah,
people
I mean,
And
obviously
that's
it's
what
not the
statistics-
7 billion population, but Liz is putting themselves in that situation. But yeah, I mean, statistically, you're more likely to, if you go to New York City, you have a higher risk of getting bit and dying from a homeless person, from a person biting you, than a shark.
Wow.
I mean, more dogs kill people every year than sharks.
Yeah.
Like feral dogs and stuff. Yeah. No, we love dogs. I feel like dogs have enough love that we can say that. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
But
Damn you and your sharks, Evan.
these are the facts that they share during Shark Week, and it is so. We have this huge phobia. It's like it's not even like it's not a thing.
No. I mean, it happens, but like you taking a bigger risk getting behind the wheel of your car.
Yeah. Oh, and I would love for you to have a Vanderpump Shark Foundation, by the way.
Vanderpump Sharks.
Yeah.
Vanderpump Sharks. Oh, Lisa would love that.
Let's give one to Dorit. Okay. Here's a shark.
Return this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's coming back.
How do you split your time in terms of your career focus and the entertainment focus? You know, we know that you've been on TV. We know that social media is a part of your life. TV will be in your future. How do you kind of separate those kind of dreams and responsibilities?
I mean, I wouldn't. None of they all kind of play together. I mean, being a vet is something I love, and I worked really hard to do that. But it's also a part of my brand and what I do, and so that plays into it. And I post things from the vet hospital. When I'm filming a show and I'm out of the country for 3 months straight with 1.5 days in between to come back every couple of weeks, I'm not working much. So it really depends on what's going on in my life with the other things that I'm working on. But I make it all work, and I'm so fortunate. So Conejo Valley Vet Hospital, when I first started there, and I hit it off with my boss. He loves to travel. He does these crazy fishing trips in crazy exotic parts of the world. Super cool dude, and we have a lot in common. He's passionate about exotics. He loves surgery and stuff too. So I think that's in part why I got hired, because he saw a lot of himself in me, when he was my age, or my stage in our careers. But he's always been supportive. I mean, he's known from the get-go, like, the kind of things I want to do. I showed him my YouTube educational videos. I got that show, that Kris Jenner show spot, within a couple of months of working there. So he's always been on board. And so I'm just really lucky with the hospital that I have that kind of support. And we're a big hospital. We've got over 20 doctors there. So when I'm gone, they can hold down the fort just fine. They're going to be just fine. Yeah. So
and you've been there for 8 years?
I graduated in 2013. I've been there ever since then. So
Nice.
it's been just over 6 years.
Nice.
We're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we're going to look at Evan Goes Wild, because we've been getting a little wild here. Actually, this is pretty tame, I have to say. Yeah. All right, when we come back. Okay, that was our break. That's how we do it.
Wow, quick.
Yeah, very quick. Let's take a look at season 1 of Evan Goes Wild on the Animal Planet, which you can stream and watch every episode, by the way.
Excited? I'm excited.
I'm Dr. Evan Antin. Working with animals has always been my passion. I'm a practicing vet in California.
Look at this tiny little baby.
But any chance I can get away into the wild, I'll do it.
Look at that horse. What's that horse doing here?
I don't remember the last time I did a physical exam on a horse in the ocean.
Oh, nice little slap of the face there.
Oh, we got whales.
I swam with whales today. I can cross that off my bucket list. It's more than just seeing them, it's feeling a presence. That's what makes you want to save these animals. That's what makes it magical.
I'm talking to elephants.
Interacting with an animal and sharing an experience with them is one of the most special things we can have.
You're the cutest thing I've ever seen.
There's so many cool animals I've gotten to work with, but there's still so many out there I want to see. And if I can help these animals and share my stories along the way, we are just having a ball, then that's literally a dream come true for me.
Excited?
Like such a blast.
excited.
It was so fun.
And it's like, and I could even see, like, on your face, looking back,
It was, man. That was a blast, yeah.
But there's a difference, and this is where I want to talk about the entertainment aspect. I've done a show before for a season, not on that level, of course, but, you're appreciated for what you bring to the table.
Right.
You're like, great, now I can do this. But then you have to deal with the business aspects, such as dealing with a network, such as dealing with an outline, such as dealing with what their vision of the show is, with their rules. And so it went from you kind of doing your own thing now as part of a major network with a whole show behind you with a crew, insurance policies as to what you can and cannot do. What was that shift like in having to deal with the business entertainment aspect?
I think I was actually really lucky. I got along great with the Animal Planet family, and we fortunately shared a pretty similar vision across the board. My producers, then I worked with them, we filmed the show with, the Animal Planet family, and then myself, we all kind of had the same visions on board. And I was very upfront from the get-go. I'm not going to do anything I'm not comfortable doing or saying or portraying or anything. None of that show was scripted. I mean, the only time I was, fed lines, quote unquote, was just to clarify like where we are, where we're going,
right.
just to keep the story going. But in terms of the medicine or the conservation or the moments, that was just me getting to be me. That was the beauty of it, and we all had a really similar vision. So, I know, like with what you've seen Lisa go through. That's obviously a different experience, and that's a really that just wasn't what it was like for me. I was just really lucky, and it went great, and I had a ball, and I don't have a lot.
Looks
of complaints.
amazing. I mean, it looks fun.
It was every bit as fun as it looked. I mean, it was a lot of work. They were long days. The traveling was freaking intense, and I was away from home really pretty much for 3 months straight filming, and then very busy with promoting the show for the next 2.5, 3 months after that. But dude, it was a blast. I mean, it was.
I can
it
even
was
see
so
on your
fun.
face, like you watching you was a moment. And that's a moment that you just can't.
Yeah.
And it's being released in Australia now, right?
Yeah, right now they're airing it in Australia. It's aired in many countries around the world, so it just depends on kind of where they are. It's mostly it's aired in most. It's already aired in most countries, it's airing in, and then they're kind of wrapping up seasons in other places.
Nice.
And it might start in some other places. But I mean, this was a goal of mine to have a show pretty much just like that since for 14 years.
Yeah.
Going into that.
How
So
great.
yeah, like I got to live this dream. I mean, it was on Animal Planet too. That's how I saw it. I was like, I want to be on, that's where I saw Steve Irwin, and that's what I wanted to do.
That's
and then
legit.
it came
really
to,
is. It
came
really
to life.
is.
It was like, it was unreal. And I was just so lucky that everybody I was working with was really on the same page. I mean, when it came to insurance stuff, they didn't want me handling any like extremely venomous snakes. And so that was kind of a bummer, but don't tell them I still got to handle one of my favorites. It wasn't on the show, but it was at one of the places we were at. But really, I mean, I didn't have a lot of boundaries or red tape. They were like, do what you're comfortable doing. And they listened to me when there was moments where I was like, we can't keep doing, like, we have to stop here. We have to draw the line, or this animal's too stressed, whatever. Like, I mean, just as I've done on social media, just as I've done in my work as a vet, the animals are the first priority. There's no question to it. That's never going to be compromised. And once that's compromised, then I know I've lost integrity and I'm going against my brand. And any time we started approaching that, I was respected, and people listened to me, and we did what I thought was best for the animals. So it was great.
Okay, I have to ask both you guys this. How has your relationship with your friends, like your actual friends that you grew up with, have had in your life, it has to change because, number one, you become so busy you can't just hang out like you used to. You're put on a different level in terms of social media, in terms of popularity. How has your relationship with your friendship circle changed the most since you've entered into the public eye?
I'm actually really curious to hear Johnny's answers over here.
Well, I mean, I think with me, everything has been really new. I mean, it was just. I mean, I feel like last season that I've been on Housewives for a few seasons, but it was really last season that Puppygate happened and all of that. So, I mean, I really feel like everything is kind of new and everyone is just navigating the waters with me and kind of being organic. But I've surrounded myself recently. I mean, I hang out with Lisa and her kind of whole crew and Evan, and I've really surrounded myself lately with a good group that are going through or have been through similar things. Okay. And Lisa has been the biggest mentor as far as just guiding me through and me calling her crying about certain things or, this dog or that dog or this situation. And she's always telling me to calm down, to be honest with you. But
that's such a nice thing to have.
I mean, honestly, the reality television queen is helping me navigate the waters, which I can't ask for anything better. But
she's been through it too.
Yeah. But as far as my friends growing up, they all think it's weird, to be honest with you. And they're just like, okay, you're going on a podcast or you're going on Extra or something. And they think it's kind of funny. But no, nobody's really changed at all so far. Thank God, knock on wood.
That's refreshing. But there's also the danger, too, of new friends we make. Because it's like, what are they being a friend to? Is it me? Is it the environment that I'm in? Is it somebody that they want to meet? And those red flags have to be constantly up.
Yeah, but I think you... like Evan said about the people that have come in that have ulterior motives, I think that you quickly get a grasp, just like you do with the animals, of what their intentions are. And I know that the people that work at Vanderpump Dogs definitely can tell intentions now, and it is something that has crossed over. So I think that's something that I would have to say that is the biggest difference, is I'm much more in tune to people's body language, their intentions, and how they're perceived when they come up to me, rather than just kind of being this naive Indiana guy. I'm like, okay, what is the motive here? So I think that's probably the only thing that has changed for me, is a little bit more of a precautionary level.
And then you ask yourself, like, would they behave this way if it was just me and a normal guy? Like, would it
a vet visit, right? Exactly.
Anywhere, whether it's in the media or working with other whatever. I don't want to take your job. I have another question. I don't want it to be too personal. I have a question though.
Please.
Girl, please.
Oh, great.
This is the environment for it.
So like with I mean, you had obstacles with your sexual orientation growing up in a
Right.
rural Indiana. Like that's, my little brother's gay. We grew up in Kansas, but
Right.
we were in the suburbs. It was
What's his phone number?
913.
I'm all over that.
Yeah. But we were a little removed from it. Like if we drove, I mean, literally even just 20, 30 minutes out, it could be a whole different landscape.
Right.
But we weren't so overall, like it was not as much of a challenge. And I wonder, how has that, do you see those people like being nice or being different now that you are doing the work that you're doing and in a bigger scope of things?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Well, first of all, I do think that growing up in rural Indiana, that my best friend was a cow until I was 9. So that kind of goes to show you kind of where my circle of
God.
friends lied. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm not saying there are deep-rooted scars there and everything, but definitely there was the faggot and the gay comments until last year. No, no, but I do think that did bring me closer to animals, to be honest with you, because it was more of a connection. I got home and I lived on a farm, so it was like they were the only ones that didn't really backtalk. But I do think that growing up in rural Indiana, there's obviously that kind of mix. But I did have somebody just last month, one of the guys that used to beat up on me all the time in high school. He actually reached out to me and said, I really applaud what you're doing for the animals and making a difference in the world. And he was like, I really want to apologize what an asshole I was to you all through high school and elementary school. And it was one of those aha moments where I was like, oh, okay. So again, being just my true authentic self is finally kind of paying off. But yeah, somebody finally did kind of say, I'm sorry for being an asshole.
I've got goosebumps, man. That seems genuine. It seems
It really
sincere.
did.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it was
that's
good.
cool. He's grown up and come around, and yeah, I mean, it's even cooler that you. I'm assuming we're
Oh, yeah, of course.
I know
They're
you're not
dating
holding a
now.
grudge.
He was the guy that he brought up
Exactly.
earlier.
Yeah. That was the guy I was telling you. Or, no,
Dating. No, but that's good because somebody seeing you on TV, even with all the housewife bullshit, can say, hey, I can do that. I'm from a small town too, and I can do what you're doing.
and overcoming and not making it a part of you.
Yeah.
You know, I've everything that happened in my past has led me to be the person that I am today. So, and I, you know, for a narcissistic value, I do love myself, you know, and you have to, I think,
It's
going
healthy.
into the world, you know,
Yeah.
and being a healthy love. So whatever made me be who I am today, you know, bring it on.
And I love
That's
that
super
it's
cool.
part of you. You know, we're so into labels nowadays, which I'm sick of. Obviously, I'm from the LGBT community, but that's not all I have to be from.
Exactly.
That's not all the show is. Everybody is welcome at this table. And I think that's what we need more of. It's like, you don't just have to be one label, because that's not who we are
Right.
in real life, you know?
Well, and I'm never going to say I'm not gay, or I'm never going to not claim that I'm proud to be gay.
But with that turtleneck girl, it's hard to
I
hide.
know, right? Exactly. And these eyelashes, are you kidding me? No,
So jealous of your eyelashes. That's gonna be like,
So no, but I think that that's probably one of 5 things that I would promote. You know, being one of my strong suits. You know, so I think I equally consider myself an animal activist. I can equally consider myself someone who loves to be in sports and fitness. You know, so I mean, I think those all 3 are equal.
No,
And girl,
I
you
mean,
have
that's a
up-
cool thing too. I was just gonna say, I mean, you guys, you know, you bring so much value to what you do in your professions, regardless. But at the same time, you get to inspire others that are struggling, that are in small town Indiana,
Right.
and you know, they're not appreciated for what they do or who they are, and they get to see like, look at these guys. You know, that's got to do a lot for people.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it should motivate. You know, I
Yeah.
hope it
Yeah,
does.
It absolutely does. I mean, it motivates animal lovers, gay kids, everybody. It
Right.
motivates everybody, and we love what you do.
Thank you.
just know that there's one other person out there that's like you. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can feel like
Exactly.
family. All right, you guys. So we end the show by doing a little rapid fire. It's nothing too deep. Nobody gets scared. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Thanks, Johnny.
John Sessa, worst
your back.
date you've ever had.
Oh my gosh. With my now best friend, it was a girl before I came out of the closet.
Okay.
I was 18 years old, and she's gorgeous. I mean, beautiful, dark hair, blue eyes. And I thought I was in love with her, and so I prepared this whole. But it was so gay. It
I
was.
would love to see this.
No,
I
I
know.
literally, no, it literally, like I had my I had a black
so-
turtleneck with black pants, like great
It
boots.
was a week ago.
Exactly. And I prepared this whole meal, and I even did like chocolate covered strawberries and stuff.
Oh my, you're
And-
so
cute.
romantic.
Oh, no. And
It
so
is
she's
adorable.
and she'll tell you this story to this day because we are best friends 20 years later, and she'll tell you, she says, I love this guy, but I think he's gay. Right? And she's like,
What tipped her off?
She's like, I want to make out with them, but she's like, at the same time, I kind of feel bad. So anyway, I would have to say my own date was probably one of the worst that I've ever
That is
had.
hilarious.
At least we're best friends to this day.
That's cute. That's cute. Do you know mine was at Sir?
No.
I was celebrating an anniversary, and I spent I don't know how much because we did all like the 5 courses. We had drinks before, and I made him laugh so hard he threw up all over the place.
Nice.
And they had sat us, they on a busy night they sit you close.
That's a lot of laughing.
That's kind of impressive.
It was about a giraffe actually. Now that I mention it,
Look at that.
and so but he did this, and it sprayed on all the sides. Then he locked himself into the bathroom. This was years ago, and then they're like, he has to come out. Number one, they had to clean up. I mean, I was
I'm actually in
tipping-
shock right
Yeah,
now.
I was tipping left and right. The staff was so amazing and nice, but he locked himself into the bath like he would not come out. And they're like, it was like
Did
an
you
hour.
date him again?
Huh?
Did you go out again?
No, we were celebrating like a 2-year anniversary.
Oh.
We broke up after that. I mean, I felt bad for him.
guy.
But to see like
feel bad for
it was like in
everybody
a movie,
I know, right?
and you're at
That whole
Sad
thing.
for everybody.
and you're at Sir. It's so nice, and everybody's dressed up and having the time of their lives. I'm just like, psst. Anyway, that was my worst date. I'm gonna write a book about it. Anyway, finish this sentence. There is no way I'm going to China if I can't pack my.
Hairspray.
Oh, okay.
Dude's
I mean,
got-
look at my hair right now. Come on, I had to say hairspray.
because you're doing your hair differently, right?
I mean, you can
just
see
longer.
this guy
I
in the
love it.
trenches of just the worst, and it's like always.
yeah,
How
yeah,
the
yeah.
hell does he do it?
It's called a natural glow.
You could be on Survivor, like you could do that show, and it'd be at the very end, and everybody's like, "What?" And you're like, "Yes." Type of dog that is most like Dorit Kemsley.
a bitchy chihuahua.
Hey man, I got a Chihuahua rescue. Watch out.
Hey, I've got two.
We love Chihuahuas, but they do have a personality. Like, let's just say,
They can.
like we date certain.
Mine's
people
a
that are
mix,
like
so he takes after the mix side.
Okay, all right. Guilty pleasure binge food.
Fruit? Mango.
No.
Food? What?
Food, like the binge food, not fruit.
Oh, I was like, binge
I love
fruit?
how he
Who
picks the
binges
gayest fruit.
fruit?
If your answer was fruit, I'd be like,
How is mango a gay fruit?
Dude, there was like a whole SNL skit about
yes,
a gay
Chris
guy
Kattan,
named Mango.
Mango. Yes. But like your food, and I know right now you are like Fitness Central. Like your Instagram stories are like, they're motivating.
Chicken tenders. I'm a chicken tender
Really?
fiend. Yeah.
I never would have thought that.
I call myself a chicken tender connoisseur, to be honest with you.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's my
that's
first.
interesting. I love chicken, obviously. Celebrity crush.
It's always going to be James Dean.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
a legit,
That's a
I would have to
classic.
second
Love
that.
him. Love him.
Oh my god.
And he loved many people too. It's
He
coming
did,
up.
I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
Yeah,
I actually
yeah.
just saw the movie Giant recently, and I wanted to be him. So it's got Rock Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Oh my god,
Amazing
dude,
movie.
he's just he's like he's in a rural. Was it Wyoming? Where were they?
There was like oil, right?
Wyoming or something?
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, he's
I
hot.
Saw, yeah,
Oh,
I
he's
saw
hot.
Rock
I love him.
Hudson
I
and
would
James Dean. I was
never,
like, that's
no
all
matter
right.
who I was with.
Yeah, James Dean.
James Dean.
Yeah, okay. John, tell people where they can follow you and find you.
Dr. John Sessa on Instagram, vanderpumpdogs.org. Always, if you want to make a donation or support our cause, vanderpumpdogs.org. Please support us.
Fabulous. All right, rapid fire. Are you ready?
No.
It's tame. It's tame. What would People Magazine's sexiest animal alive be?
Ooh. I mean, the cliche answer, I'd have to say like a leopard or something.
That's pretty sexy.
You know?
Yeah, that's
I
sexy.
mean, they're pretty sexy.
Okay. All right.
But then, of course, I've seen, some of the cutest animals that just don't come off as sexy, just like do these little sexy poses. Like, actually, I saw a big gorilla. Okay, so the first time I went hiking with gorillas in Rwanda, big, huge silverback came, plopped right in front of me, and I was like, okay. Lays on his back, and then goes and proceeds to lay on his side. Like
No.
he's doing this thing, like on his side. Like
He saw your issue of People Magazine. Like,
was-
He
back
was
in
trying to
his
get
day.
he was
Yeah,
trying to get a
he
shout
totally
out.
It was
was.
the sexiest thing I've ever
He
seen
was
in my
trying to
life.
get a shout out.
He's like, my Instagram could use a little.
I thought you were gonna say lizard. I honestly thought
I thought
sexy.
of
I
lizard,
thought you
too.
were gonna say like, oh, those
Yeah.
white-backed lizard.
Right. I mean, those. Yeah. I mean, I love king cobras. They're sexy to me.
Okay, finish the sentence. If I wasn't working with animals, I'd be.
I love fitness as well, and I was a
I could
personal
use the
trainer for a year
fitness.
before vet school, and I loved it. It was a fun profession because people are paying to hang out with you and learn from you. It's
Yeah.
a very positive, fun thing. So that'd probably be it.
I like paying a personal fitness trainer, and then I show up, and then I suggest that we go get cocktails. Like, that's my favorite thing.
I've had clients like
It's
you.
happened before. And we have. It's like, this is not working out, and I pay to have cocktails with you. Anyway, one animal that gives you the heebie-jeebies. I know you love all animals, but
Ooh,
like
good
one
question.
animal that's just like, ooh.
I promise there's not one. There's not one. Name any. I'm telling you.
I'll vouch for you on that one.
There's not like Ace Ventura. He hated bats or afraid
Yeah.
of like. There's not. Every animal has some unique adaptations and physiology and anatomy to them that I find fascinating.
Even like a snail?
Yeah, you actually get a kick. I found these monster snails in Tanzania,
I've heard that they get
and I
super
just
big.
put them all over my face.
Oh,
They
God.
were like
no,
this
now,
big.
no.
Don't
Yeah.
get him going about a snail intestine
Yeah,
either.
see?
Do we have another 20 minutes?
Get the salt out. Okay, no. Okay, then how about what's the hardest animal to treat?
It's funny. Some of the big. So there's a species of tortoise called the sulcata tortoise. You ever seen this birth-eyed tortoise? You see them in the pet trade sometimes, and maybe you guys have come across them. I mean, there's some challenging animals, but these guys, they're so strong and they can be so stubborn. And they're all their scales on the outsides of their arms and legs are just like rock armor, and then their shell is too. When they tuck in, you can't do shit with them. You can't do anything. Like there's a lot of cases where just to work on a turtle, I've had to fully anesthetize it. And anesthetizing them is a challenge in itself
Yeah, I
because
can
their dose range is huge. You never want to overdo it. Especially if you don't have a catheter and you can't reverse it quickly.
Yeah.
And so I've spent hours trying to just work with stubborn tortoises. So that's been, those guys stick out.
And they live forever, too, by the way.
Yeah, that species, I mean, I've met them probably a little over 100 years old.
Wow.
And some tortoises can live long. Those Galapagos can
Yeah.
live pushing
Yeah.
200 years,
Yeah.
Sea
Crazy.
turtles can live hundreds of years.
There was a turtle last year that finally died, but he was there when Charles Darwin was doing
Yes.
his...
we should know. I should know his name. George or something. Oh, shit, what was
but he was actually there
Yeah,
and like
that's
written about
crazy.
it.
yeah,
That
this guy
is
lived through the
insane.
Civil War and all kinds
that's
of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Finish this sentence. I almost got a D in this class. The class was...
I got a D in the 19th century Australian film and cinema when I studied abroad in Australia.
Why would you take that
It was
class?
because I needed some elective
credit
for some whatever.
Electives
that-
are supposed to be
He
easy,
would have been
though.
like the hot guy
I
in
know.
choir.
Choir.
Right, yeah,
Choir.
yeah.
That would have been an elective.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was so easy. I had to watch a movie once a week, and
You poor thing.
and I know. And the first movie, coincidentally, was Mad Max, and I
Love
I
that
didn't
movie.
watch it, and I fucking love Mad
Yeah.
Max. Like I love them all. And
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
one, the Road Warrior, I
Yeah, the
love
original,
it.
yep.
Or no, that's just Mad Max. Yeah, Road Warrior's the second one maybe. Anyways, I got a D, and I'll never forget that because getting a D in the getting below a C in any of the past 45 credits up until applying to vet school will automatically get you not even considered for North Carolina. And that was a school I was interested in.
Wow.
I was like, those motherfuckers. Like, cinema.
Damn
Like,
D.
I got A's
Yeah,
in
no
OChem
elective.
and all this like gnarly, like I got pretty good grades. I
done
mean, to
choir.
get into vet school is not easy, but like,
Should have done choir.
Yep.
no, no, I'm not a singer.
It doesn't matter.
All
They would
respect.
have... Yeah, no.
I guess you're singing with a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah. Least favorite interview or red carpet question?
Does it count this one?
How dare you? I probably have asked it, though.
Yeah, I mean, people like sometimes ask me stuff and they don't realize that it's goes against like animal welfare kind of things.
I've said a few of those today.
Yeah, no, worse than that. And I don't know, I can't. Yeah, that, or if they're like trying to get too much of my personal life.
Yeah.
Then I'm just like, okay, let's talk about what we're here to talk about today.
The animals.
Yeah.
Thank you, the animals.
All right, Dr. Evan, where can people follow you?
Oh, my Instagram is Dr. Evan Antin, Dr. Evan Antin, just my name spelled out. Facebook as well, facebook.com/evan.antin. I've been bad about my YouTube, but I do have a lot of really cool, educational, like interesting, a lot of surgery videos and wildlife videos. And so if you want to learn more, I do a bunch of Q&A stuff like, how to get into vet school or how to study or whatever. That's all there too.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I can't wait to see what transpires for both of you in the next year.
Thank you for
Hopefully
having
you
us.
guys will be back and we'll have more to talk about. Yeah. Okay, that's all I can say about
Hopefully
that.
you'll be seeing a lot more of Evan
Yes.
and I.
Yes.
Exactly.
I cannot
Leave it
wait
at
because
that.
it's about time. Coming up on the show, we have singer-songwriter Lisa Loeb coming to visit. We have country music singer Casey Lansales performing live. Sci-Fi Network's Jen Cheon. Ballet dancer Chad Allen Ortiz is stopping by. And 8-time Academy Award nominee makeup special effects artist V. Neal, who did the makeup for Star Trek, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Mrs. Doubtfire, Hunger Games, Pirates of the Caribbean, is coming into one-on-one, and we're going to talk about all of her films. And then we have a panel of adult film stars. You never know who's going to be here. On the Rocks is the place
Lovely.
to be every week. You can find all of our pictures that we take at Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Tony, thank you so much for filling in for Kurt.
Thank you,
Kurt will
Tony.
be back next time
Thanks,
with a pun
Tony.
for us all. And as always, thank you very much for our listeners and our viewers. We'll see you next Tuesday. This has been On the Rocks with Alexander, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network. Find me on Facebook on The Rocks Radio Show. Tweet me or Instagram me at On the Rocks On Air. See you next Tuesday!